Good morning, friends. It's Saturday, and today I actually have a ladies' tea with my daughter at our homeschool co-op. She's actually helping host it. She takes a baking class, and they are baking all of the goodies for it. So she's there right now setting up, and I have to be there in a couple hours. So I am going to get some slow cooker sauce going in the crock pot for lasagna later today, and so I thought I would show you how I'm doing it. I'm using just a lot of things I have on hand, stuff I've gotten in my Azure orders. This is a super simple sauce that everyone can do. I used to always be afraid of making sauce from, I shouldn't say scratch because they're not my tomatoes. We live in a townhouse. I can't grow tomatoes. When I get tomatoes over the summer, I do make my own sauce, but I buy sauce from Azure. So from scratch, from sauce from Azure, but it's not like, it's just tomato sauce. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. And if you are watching this on YouTube, I do these live on my Instagram, Her Heart's at Home, and you can join me on there if you want. And I do cooking videos live, I do grocery hauls live, I share cooking tips and recipes, and I also share about homeschooling and being a homemaker. So if those things are of interest to you, come join me on Instagram if you're watching this on YouTube. So the first thing I did was just chopped up an onion, and I used half of it. I am using onion, granulated onion in here, and some minced onion because my kids don't like when there's onion pieces, so I keep those parts to a minimum. So I've got that going in some olive oil, and I just buy a big bottle. I just have a big bottle from Costco or Sam's Club, but when I have to restock, I'm going to buy it from Azure. I actually bought some avocado oil from them recently. So yesterday we had Sloppy Joe's, and I cooked up 2 packages of meat, which was like 2.5 pounds of meat, and I took out part of that for today's meal. So I knew I was going to be busy, and I did not want to have to go through cooking meat twice. So cooking up bulk meat and then saving it for future recipes is a great way to go. It's a great time saver. It allows you to make meals from scratch without taking up as much time if you don't have it. I did season this yesterday with the minced onion and some pepper and garlic and onion and all the good things. So I'm just going to add that into my pan. So this is already cooked, so I'm just heating it back up. And so I'm just doing like a meaty tomato sauce for the lasagna. While that's going, these are the lasagna noodles that I have. They are just organic lasagna noodles. These I got from Target actually, and that's probably where I will continue getting these. I don't know if I'd get them from Azure or not, but they're oven ready lasagna. That's another huge time saver, is just to buy them oven ready, then you don't have to boil them. So I'm just going to heat this meat, and like I said, I seasoned it yesterday, so I'm not going to add any seasonings to my meat now. But if you were cooking up your meat from scratch or cooking it fresh, then of course you'd want to season the meat, because you want to season every level of your cooking to really ensure you've got good flavor in there. So my allergies are just kicking my butt. So if I sound a little stuffy, that's why. It was all stuffed yesterday, and we've had some really weird fluctuating temperatures here in Minnesota, and so it's like cold and then warmer and cold and warmer, and I can't decide if it wants to turn into spring or not. So it's really messing with my allergies. Okay, so to that I have some 2 cloves of garlic that I chopped up. These are from Azure Standard, and I really like the quality. The onion is actually from Azure Standard too. They have great organic produce, and I find that the onions and the garlic are a great buy. We also buy their oranges. There's been a few things that we've gotten that I wasn't happy with, but Azure was really great about giving us a refund, so it wasn't an issue. And they are shipping across the country, so sometimes that happens. So, throwing meat around here. I've learned that your root things, your heartier things, just hold up a little better. Saving some of those a little more perishable things for a local store might be better, but that's just me. Okay, So now that this meat is heated through, like I said, it was already cooked, so I didn't need to worry about that. I've got my garlic in there, my onion. I'm going to go ahead and just throw it into my slow cooker. And the reason why I'm doing it in my slow cooker is it'll just allow those flavors to really mix together while I'm gone today, and will be perfect for assembling lasagna when I get home. So into my crock pot, I'm going to add in, this is Bio Nature strained tomatoes. It's a product of Italy. There's no salt added. The only ingredient in here is organic strained tomatoes. So I love that because you get to control the salt level. You get to control all of the seasonings. You are literally just basically taking out the step of having to cook down your own tomatoes, which I think it's great. And it's from Italy and it's in a glass jar. So I feel really good about using it and the quality. So I'm just gonna put that in there. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of water to my jar and shake it around to get the last of the sauce out. Do you do that? Do you make sure you get the last of your sauce out? So now I'll just dump that in there. Just helps get the last of the sauce out, and that little bit of extra liquid in there is totally fine. Mix that together. And I always share my videos after I'm done with the live, so if you missed part of it, you can always go back to it. You can go back to it and save it for the recipe, things like that. Okay, so I've got my sauce in there. Hi from Michigan. Hello. I am making some spaghetti marinara sauce for lasagna later today. So I bulk cooked some ground beef yesterday because we had sloppy joes yesterday, so I saved half of that meat and I just reheat it today with some olive oil, some onions, and some garlic. The meat was already seasoned yesterday with pepper and onion and garlic and all those kind of things. So I just reheated it today, and now I put it in my crock pot with this amazing strained tomatoes that I get in my Azure Standard order. If you're unfamiliar with what Azure Standard is, you can go to my highlights, and I have a highlight for Azure Standard, but it is a great place to get organic, healthy foods. Check them out. So that's where I got that from. So then the next thing I'm going to add, because there is no salt in the tomatoes at all, which is fantastic because you get to control the ingredients. I haven't salted anything, but I'm going to add in some Better Than Bouillon beef base. This just intensifies that beef flavor in it, and it also adds a little bit of sodium, just gives it really nice, rich flavor. So I'm just going to do 1 teaspoon, and if you aren't familiar with Better Than Bouillon, it is like Nutella-ish texture, maybe a little thicker, but I like this better than like bouillon powder. And once you open it, you keep it in the fridge. Otherwise, it's shelf stable while it's sealed. In fact, I just got 2 new things yesterday, but I really, really like this. So I'm just gonna do 1 heaping teaspoon. A serving is a teaspoon. To reconstitute this, you would mix it with water, just like you would the powder, but I'm just adding it into my sauce just for a little more rich flavor. If I had some carrots, I would shred up a carrot in here, but I don't. We're all out of carrots, so I can't do that. But that would be a really great way to add a little bit of sweetness and an extra veggie. But I'm just kind of making do with what I have on hand today, and that's okay. That's really how I cook, and we're getting a lot of good veggie with that tomato paste or tomato sauce in there. Okay, so then I am going to add in 2 bay leaves, which of course I'll remove when I go to make the lasagna, but this just gives it some good flavor. 2 bay leaves. And then I always add in a little bit of sugar with my tomato products. It just helps cut down the acidity. You could use sucanat, you could maybe use honey, I'm not sure. But this is just organic cane sugar, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that. This is a 1/2 teaspoon measurement, so I'm gonna do a teaspoon of sugar. You don't need a lot, just a little bit to help cut down on that acidity. You could totally omit this if you don't want it, but 1 teaspoon in this whole dish is really not too bad. All right, then the next thing is some granulated onion, and I'm not even sure how much I have in here. That's a 1/2 teaspoon. So about a teaspoon is what I had left in there. I got to refill this. So 1 teaspoon of onion, granulated onion. I buy organic granulated onion from Sam's Club, and I really, really like it. And so that's what I buy. Then I've got some granulated garlic. This is California garlic. It's organic, and it's from Costco. So I really shop at all the bulk places. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of granulated garlic. I know that I have fresh garlic in there, but I like to have both kinds. I think it just adds a really good depth of flavor. Okay, next is some just organic pepper. So like I said before, I seasoned the meat already, so I don't need a lot. So I'm going to do about a half a teaspoon of pepper in there. I went slightly under. Which, by the way, since I'm using them, I got these measuring spoons on my last Azure order. And what I like about them is that they're small and they're elongated. So like the tablespoon is really long, but if it's perfectly inside of the jar, sometimes they're, they're like this, and this does not fit into a spice jar if it's like a normal opening. So I love these little things. I think the brand is like Norpro or something, but I ordered them from Azure. They were cheaper on there than anywhere else. So look for Azure for other products other than just food. They've got a lot of great kitchen supplies as well. All right, next is some organic Italian seasoning, and I am gonna do 2 teaspoons of that. So again, this is just a half a teaspoon measurement, so I'm doing it 4 times. So, and to be honest, it's kind of shocking that I'm even measuring this out right now. I don't usually measure out my stuff, so if you've been following me and you watch me cook, that probably drives you crazy because it's hard to make them. But I'm trying to get better. But that's really how I cook, is just what feels right to me. And the longer you cook and the more you cook, you kind of get that, and it's kind of nice to be able to do that. So that's how my mom always cooked. I remember when I was learning to make her sloppy joes, and I was like, what do you put in it? And she told me, and I did the same thing, and I didn't taste anything like it, and it's because there wasn't any measurements. She just measured to her heart's content. So it's kind of how I cook. Anyway, so I've got all that in here. You could, if you needed to, you could add in some more water, since you put that better than bouillon in here, if you needed it to be a thinner sauce. I don't. This is plenty thin. I will show you here what it looks like, and then I'll get it plugged back in, but you can kind of see it there. And it's not taking up my whole crock pot. If I wanted, I could double this sauce and I could freeze it, but I just need it for a smallerish lasagna today. So that's it. So I'm just going to put it on low. I'm going to let it cook until I'm ready to use it. Everything in there is cooked, so there's not really a specific amount of time. The longer you let it sit, the better the flavors are going to mesh together, and it's going to be perfect sauce for lasagna. And then I'm going to make some sort of homemade bread with it. Not sure what yet. I'll see when I get home from the tea what I feel like making. So if this video was of interest to you, make sure you're following me on Instagram, or if you're on YouTube, that you like and subscribe. And I always share a picture of the completed product at dinner time on Instagram. If you're on YouTube, stay tuned, because when I end the video, then I will add in the picture of the finished product, so you can see it on there too. And again, if you want to see what Azure is all about, go to my highlights and check that out. And that's that. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye.